Help me reach 7,000 subscribers. Please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback helps make the content better. I came home late on a Tuesday, tie still on, phone buzzing with bored texts, and found the table set for two like a magazine spread. Candles, cloth napkins, salmon she never cooks on weekdays. Leah stood there in a silk blouse I'd seen maybe twice in a year. She smiled a second too slow. It wasn't the dinner that threw me. It was the way she shuffled my briefcase out of the kitchen like it carried a smell. "Rough day?" she asked, pouring water instead of wine. She always poured wine on nights like this. "Normal," I said, dropping my keys in the bowl. "You?" "Quiet." She slid the plate toward me and avoided my eyes. "I moved your gym bag to the hall closet. Thought it'd be easier. We don't touch each other's routine stuff. That's our unspoken treaty." I glanced toward the closet and caught a whiff of her perfume, too bright, like she'd sprayed it twice. She sat, folded her hands, and asked about a vendor we fired last quarter, a name I hadn't heard from her in months. The questions sounded rehearsed, like someone gave her notes on how to talk to me. "I didn't know you remembered those names," I said, cutting the salmon. "I listen," she answered, and smiled at her plate. I ate, watched her push food around, and told myself it was just a Tuesday. She wanted to feel fancy. The bag in the closet, the perfume, the note card questions. Odd, but explainable. I wasn't suspicious. I was tired. If I'd known where this was headed, I would have taken a very different drive home that night. We finished in silence. When I stood to wash dishes, she moved in front of me, blocking the sink. "I'll do it," she said. "You go shower. Long day." "Thanks," I said, and stepped aside. On my way down the hall, I saw she'd already set out a towel in the guest bathroom, not our master bath, and a new razor. Like she'd planned my route. I checked my phone at the door. A text from Nate, my COO. "We need to talk procurement tomorrow." Also, weird HR chatter. I pocketed it. I showered in the guest bath. She'd stocked it with my shampoo. A small thing, but it felt like traffic cones guiding me away from our bedroom. When I lay down later, she was already asleep, phone face down, screen still warm. I turned off the lamp and made a note in my head. Next week, we talk routines. That was me being gentle. It didn't last. The next morning, I went into the office early. Our building is glass and steel and a little too proud of itself. My doing. I built the company out of a garage and 3 good hires, then a dozen, then 500. We distribute industrial sensors to places that don't forgive mistakes. I don't either. At 10, Leah texted a picture of the dinner plates drying on the rack. "I forgot to mention," she wrote. "I'm meeting Hannah for yoga tonight. Don't wait up." "Not a problem," I replied. "I'll be late." I was already tracking how she'd cleared my schedule without asking. Signal received. I sent a message to my assistant. "Please block my weeknights after 6. Company push. No exceptions. Also, switch my morning workouts to the office gym. Cancel home trainer for now. Initiative, not argument. I protect my time when someone plays with it." By noon, Nate stepped in, shut the door, and held up a folder. "Procurement is fine," he said, dropping into a chair. "But HR is buzzing about Ethan. He's in analytics. You know him. Tall, runs the Monday reports." I knew Ethan well enough. Smart, steady, used to date some marketing girl years back. He also used to date Leah before I met her. All old history. When I hired him, I cleared it with her. She said, "We were kids. No drama." "Fine. What's HR buzzing about?" I asked. "Rumors. He's taken late lunches with department heads he doesn't report to. He's sometimes in meetings that aren't on his calendar. None of it's illegal. It just smells like someone shopping influence." "Who's talking?" A receptionist heard him laughing with someone on speakerphone. Said it sounded personal. Humor's not a crime. But if he's working angles, I need to know whose. I stared at the folder, not opening it. I don't live in gossip. I don't run a company on whispers. But the salmon, the perfume, the towel in the guest bath, they don't fit well with yoga with Hannah. "Start a quiet audit on his access," I said. "No drama, no flags. See where he's spending time." Nate nodded. "You want me to pull Leah's visitor logs too? Considering optics?" "No. Keep family out of the system. We're not those people." Nate's eyebrows moved a millimeter. "Understood." He left. I leaned back, looked at the skyline, and scheduled a lunch with Leah that Friday. My invite said, Blackbird at noon. We need to align weekends and travel. Neutral. She accepted in 30 seconds. I smiled. That speed was its own message. At home that night, I found flowers on the counter. Tulips, her go-to when she wants to reset the board. Nice, I said, hanging my jacket. You've been swamped. I figured color helps. She leaned on the island and watched me like I was a client she needed to manage. How's Nate? Driven. What's new with you? Yoga was canceled, she said lightly. Hannah's kid had a fever. I ended up getting coffee with. She stopped, tiny pause. With my mom. Tell her I'll call this weekend. I poured water. Why the guest bathroom last night? She blinked. What? The towel. The razor. You set me up in the guest bath. Oh. She pulled at a napkin edge. I was washing our bath rug. Didn't want you stepping on a wet floor. It was a busy evening, Max. Appreciated, I said. File it under maybe. She watched my face for longer than a wife should have to. I gave her nothing else. We ate takeout. She tried jokes. I kept it short. By the way, she said halfway through Friday lunch. I'm excited. It's overdue. It is. Blackbird's fancy for an Align, she added, lightly teasing. Anything I should prepare for? Just time, I said and chewed. And honesty about weekends. She laughed. I can be honest. We'll test that. She blinked again, smile not reaching her eyes. She cleared the plates. It should have been a normal night. It wasn't. The tulips looked like props. I went to bed early and set a meeting with our head of security for the morning. When I run into fog, I switch on lights. At 8 the next day, I called Jonah, a private investigator a friend once used for internal theft. He's old school and boring in the way that makes me trust a man. I need you to clear or confirm something, I told him. Discreet. No theatrics. You don't know my wife. That's good. You'll get dates and possible locations for me. You'll do the rest. You think she's seeing someone? He asked. No judgment in his voice. Just intake. I think I notice patterns. I could be wrong. Prove me wrong or prove me right. Either works. I'll bill retainer by noon, he said. And no, I don't work on rumors. I work on proof. Good, I said. I pay for proof. Right after that call, Leah texted a photo of a breakfast sandwich she made for me and forgot to pack. It was on a plate in our kitchen with a sticky note heart. That was her soft reset. First illusion of change. I thanked her, told her Jonah's name meant nothing, and threw myself into back-to-back meetings. Initiative 2. I asked my assistant to pull me from all optional social events on our shared calendar. No more couples trivia, no more charity brunches she used to stage manage. Business load, I told her. True enough. Also, I don't show up for choreography I didn't approve. By Wednesday evening, Leah went from chirpy to frosty. I came home to her moving through our house with headphones on. She didn't pause when I spoke. She let me talk to her back. You working out tonight? I asked, changing shoes by the door. She nodded, not looking. At the club or at home? I pressed. She pulled one ear cup off. Does it matter? It does if we're lining up cars. I'll ride share, she said, and put the cup back on. Message received. She was rewriting rules. I poured a drink I barely touched and opened my laptop at the kitchen table. 5 minutes later, she circled back, headphones on her neck now. Sorry, she said. I'm just in my head today. Workouts help. You okay? I'm good. You look tired. I run a company. She exhaled in a way that said, we're doing this again, and left. I stood, walked to the office, and locked a drawer that had been unlocked for years. I changed the code on our home safe and moved the car title folders from it to the office. Not spite. Logistics. When someone starts shifting furniture, you stop leaving jewelry on the nightstand. Initiative 3, private. Friday came fast. I got to Blackbird early and took a table facing the door. Leah arrived 5 minutes late in a sundress that said she wanted happy optics. She sat, opened the menu she knows by heart, and looked everywhere but my face. Glad we're doing this, she said. Me too. I closed my menu. Weekends. I'll be in the office all day Saturday for the next 3 weeks. Sundays I'm off. Evenings. I'm home by 8 if I'm home at all. If you want to schedule anything, you ask me, you don't announce. If I schedule something, I'll run it by you. No more surprises. She smirked. That sounds controlling. It sounds like a calendar. Last week you rerouted me like a traffic app. I didn't complain. Now I'm setting the route. She drummed the menu with a fingernail. I set a towel in a bathroom, and now we're doing project management. We're doing clarity. I like clarity. Fine, she said. Sundays are ours. Agreed. Then she leaned forward and softened her voice. Sorry for being distant. You've been in your head. I've been in mine. We forgot each other. I nodded. That was her second soft reset, apology with warmth. It almost worked. I let it sit 6 inches from me. The waiter came and went. We ordered. While we waited, I brought up the guests she wanted to host for a game night next week. Let's push it, I told her. I'm trimming social fat until quarter close. She laughed. Harsh. True. Okay, she said too quickly. We'll push it. Her eyes flicked to her phone face down by her fork. She flipped it over and forced a smile. Let's stop talking like your staff, okay? Tell me something fun. Fun, I repeated, and let the subject dissolve. When you tell someone, no more gray zones, they test you with small rain. I didn't open an umbrella. I walked inside. 2 days later, the rain turned into a rumor. Not from Nate this time, but from Casey, my head of sales, a woman whose sarcasm is a weapon we use in the field. She caught me by the elevator after a budget review. Max 2 minutes? Make it 1. You know I don't do gossip, but this one touches P and L. Ethan's been whispering to marketing that analytics should get a slice of our travel budget. Says he's helping leadership realign resources. He's also been seen having coffee offsite with people who interest you. Which people? She held my gaze. People who wear a ring you paid for. I didn't blink. You sure? I'm not playing coy. I'm saying the optics are gross, and if marketing starts thinking Ethan speaks for you, you'll have mess. If the other thing is true, that's your mess, and I'm sorry. Thanks, I said, and pressed the elevator button. When the doors closed, I stood alone and listened to the cables hum. Then I took out my phone and called Jonah. Give me a status. I was about to call you, he said. You want me to text or talk? Talk. I tailed Ethan Thursday and Friday. Thursday, office to a coffee shop on 7th. He met a woman in a coat that looked like money. Friday, office to a hotel restaurant downtown. Same woman. I kept my distance. Today I got a clean shot of them walking to the garage at 5:18. I'll have a file for you by morning. Send it. Max, he added. If this is your wife, I'm sorry. If it's not, fire me. Just send it, Jonah. I hung up, sat in my chair, and stared at the city. My phone buzzed with Leah's text. Dinner at home? I'll make your favorite. Third softening attempt, bigger this time. I could almost hear the strings. Can't, I wrote back. Late night. Order something good for yourself. Then I called Nate. I need an ethics-safe way to reassign Ethan temporarily, I said. Nothing punitive. Project reallocation. Put him on the West Coast rollout. Full travel. 2 weeks. That's abrupt, he said. So is life. You want him out of the building. You sure you want optics? I want distance. Do it quietly. If he asks why, tell him the truth. We need him there. Nate paused. We do, actually. This will hurt less than it looks. I'll set it up. By morning, Jonah's file sat in my inbox. Time-stamped photos, locations, dates, small notes. Leah's coat, Leah's hair, Leah's smile. Not comedy. Facts. They didn't hold hands in public. They moved like careful people. But patterns don't lie. When he sent the last set from the parking garage, I closed my laptop and just breathed. 30 seconds. Then I stood. I texted Leah, I'll be home after 9. I wasn't going home. I called Ethan. Hey, boss, he answered, chipper like a man who thinks his life is normal. I need you for dinner, I said. Tonight. 7. Harper's on 12th. Is this about West Coast? He asked, guarded suddenly. It's about priorities. 7. Sure. 7. I left the office early to get a table in the back. Harper's is the kind of place where deals happen in low light and nobody asks who you are if you tip well. Ethan walked in on time, saw me, and smiled like we were on the same team. He wore a jacket he couldn't afford on his salary. He sat and folded his hands. Big night, he tried. Very, I said. You want a drink? I'll stick with water. Good, I said. Clear heads do brave things. His smile twitched. Brave. You've been close to someone you shouldn't be close to, I said. Calm, flat. You already know who I'm talking about. I'm not here to yell. I'm here to solve. He swallowed. Max, I don't need the preface. I cut in. Here are the terms. You tell me precisely what's been happening, when, how often, who initiated contact, who kept it going. You do it cleanly, you don't dress it up. Then you put it in writing. When I file for divorce, you're available to testify to dates and places. If you do that, you keep your severance and a neutral reference. If you don't, you leave my company with no reference at all, and I'll tell any potential employer who asks that you cannot be trusted with confidential matters. Your choice. He stared, face emptying. You're serious. Very. He looked at his hands. We reconnected at a fundraiser, he said finally. 6 months ago. She reached out first. Said she felt neglected. We met a few times. Coffee. Then it kept happening. He flinched as if he'd stepped on glass. This sounds bad. I know. It sounds like facts, I said. Keep going. She talked about you, he added. How you're always working. She said it wasn't about replacing anything. She just wanted to feel alive. That's her term. She didn't want to leave you. Said she liked her life. She also said if you ever found out, you'd just walk. He blew air. Guess she was right. She was half right. I answered. I walk, but I don't leave messes behind. Dates. He listed them. Places. Always cautious. I wrote nothing down. I didn't need to. Jonah's file matched. When he finished, the waiter brought water I didn't remember asking for. You'll put this in writing, I said, sliding a pen from my inner pocket. Tonight. You'll let HR notarize it in the morning. You'll stay on the West Coast project for the next 2 weeks. After that, we'll discuss transition. Transition, he repeated, color gone. You knew this was a risk when you stepped into it. You did it anyway. I'm not here to pile on. I'm here to finish. I reached for my glass, then set it down when my phone vibrated. Leah, where are you? She asked when I answered. Dinner, I said. With who? With your ex. I'm learning a lot. Silence. No bravado. No spin. Just a click. She hung up. I put the phone screen down and looked at Ethan. She knows, I said. Eat. Then write. He didn't eat. He wrote. When he finished, I read his statement. Clean enough. He tried to soften a few phrases. I circled them and he rewrote. At the end, he looked like a man who finally felt the ground under him. Max, he said, voice dry, I'm sorry. I know that doesn't mean much. It means you're not a liar, I said. That's something. I left cash for the meal we didn't touch and stood. On my way to the door, I texted Nate. Open HR at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Ethan will sign a statement. Prep neutral exit. 2 weeks. After that, terminate for cause, internal policy breach. Document everything. We'll review wording. Copy, he replied. I drove home expecting a conversation. The house answered the door with quiet. Leah's shoes by the mat were gone. Her jewelry dish empty. Half her closet cleared with efficiency she never brought to vacations. No note. No sound. Just absence. I walked room to room and checked a drawer she never touched. My passport lay where it should. The safe side open with the new code. Good. Logistics again. I put my ring in a small dish on the dresser and went to bed without brushing my teeth. In the morning, I called my lawyer and said a sentence I never planned to say. File. He doesn't ask why. He just files. At 9, my phone buzzed. Leah's name. A long text that said nothing real. I need some space. We should talk when you're calmer. I'm staying with a friend. Don't make this public. I ignored it. At 10, she sent another. If you humiliate me, I'll never forgive you. At 11, can we meet? Just to talk. I didn't answer. By noon, her last message came through. Send the papers. And then, I'll sign. She did. No theatrics. No negotiation. Either she had an exit plan that required stealth, or she realized my patience was not a theater she could rent anymore. The day she returned the signed documents, I was in the office signing Ethan's exit paperwork. He kept his 2 weeks because I said he would. He lost the rest because actions carry invoices. The only conversation Leah and I had after that was 3 lines on a Thursday. I can return the car, she wrote. Return it, I replied. And the card. Already cut. You're smart. You'll be fine. There was no fight. Just the sound of a chapter closing without applause. I didn't announce anything. We don't go to war in a company chat. I held a short leadership meeting. Personal note. I told them. Leah and I are finished. You'll see it on paper soon. Keep your focus where it belongs. If anyone approaches you with questions, you redirect them to HR. Casey raised a hand. We good? She asked. Not nosy. Protective. We're better than good. I answered. We're clean. Nate nodded and passed around new org charts for the West Coast rollout. No shadows in them. No Ethan. That week, Leah went quiet. Our mutual friends pinged me with lukewarm messages. We heard. Sorry. I replied with a thumbs up and went back to shifting budgets. When you've been inside a fog, you appreciate the sharpness of things. The factory sounded like truth. Numbers lined up like good soldiers. The team responded like adults. I breathed easier there than on my own couch. 2 Fridays after Harper's, I walked into a quarterly review and found Ethan at the far end of the hall collecting his last box. He looked smaller. He looked relieved, honestly. Take care of yourself, I told him. It was all there was to say. I will, he said. Max, I know I have no right to ask anything, but don't burn me beyond the paperwork. I'll have a hard enough time. You made your bed, I said. I'm not here to light it. Leave it that. He nodded and left without looking back. Later, I signed a quiet memo that made sure he wouldn't land in any of our partner firms. Not a crusade. Just a note I owed every person who works hard here. The following Sunday, my mother-in-law called me by accident and hung up immediately. I didn't call back. I knew what the conversation would be. She's confused. Be kind. I'm kind when I can be. I'm not soft on disrespect. A month later, a mutual friend texted a photo of Leah at a rooftop party. She was thinner, and her smile didn't touch her eyes. I didn't forward it to anyone. I deleted it and went to the gym. My life wasn't a feed anymore. It was reps and numbers and work that matters. People ask if I miss her. I miss the version of us that existed before she decided her boredom was my fault. I miss the mornings where we didn't rehearse honesty. That version didn't survive her hobby. It's not my job to stand in rubble and call it a house. Here's what I did, so the story's useful. I acted before the theater started. The moment routines changed, I changed rules. The minute rumors touched my name, I didn't ask the internet for advice. I called a professional and paid for truth. When I had it, I didn't write a monologue. I wrote a plan. After she hung up that night, I finished my dinner with her past. I drove home, saw the space she left, and went to sleep. In the morning, I filed. I didn't send a paragraph. I sent a signature. She returned one. Then I did what I promised. I cut off the pipeline that made this cozy for the other party. He kept 2 weeks because I said he would. He left because he earned it. I didn't raise my voice once. I didn't need to. There was a small final scene, the only one you might call cinematic if you didn't know me. It happened in the lobby when Leah came by to drop the car keys at reception. She asked to see me. The receptionist called upstairs. I went down. She stood there with the keys in her palm, like a museum piece. People came and went. No one stared. That's the advantage of a building with good etiquette. You could have tried to fix us, she said, low and urgent. You just closed the door. I tried when it was about schedules, I told her. When it became about respect, there's no workshop. You're not even angry. Oh, I am, I said, and I met her eyes. I'm just not noisy. She looked past me at the elevators. What are you going to tell people? The truth, I said. That we wanted different things, and one of us acted on it. That's enough. I didn't want to blow up your life, she said. You wanted fun, I finished. And comfort. You aimed to keep both. You lost one. The other is none of my business now. Her jaw moved like she wanted to fight. Instead, she handed the keys to the receptionist and turned. Leah, I added as she stepped away. She half-turned. What? Close the door behind you, I said. We keep the lobby quiet. She didn't slam it. She didn't cry. She just left, and the door whispered shut. I walked back to the elevator and pressed the button for the floor where I still had work that deserved respect. Epilogue. People want the romance angle. There isn't one. I'm not shopping. I show up at 6, leave when I leave, and sleep like a man who made a decision and never took it back. The company is up, revenues, retention, the metrics no one can fake. I bought a place by the river with a patio big enough for a grill I never had time to use before, and yes, I use it. I traded the old car for something that handles like a plan and not a wish. Weekends, I shoot hoops with Nate's kids and lose on purpose just enough to keep them hungry. I take a couple of short trips with the team to visit plants we used to ignore because flights were inconvenient. We don't ignore those anymore. Leah? I hear things. None worth repeating. A friend of a friend said she moved into a smaller place across town. Another said she tried a startup job and lasted 2 weeks. None of that is my ledger now. The only time her name crosses my mind is when someone asks how to handle disrespect without turning it into theater. I answer them the way I'd answer you if we were in a bar and you slid a drink across the table. You see the pattern early. You don't argue with it. You don't beg it to be a different picture. You set your rules, you verify the facts, you move your feet, and you don't look back. And if someone asks for a final line, you give them one and you make it clean.